Hello, Year Twos, and welcome to Thursday's story time. Now, we left yesterday when the insects had just fallen asleep, and James was with them too. I wonder what's going to happen next. I can hear some of you've spotted my new friend today, Mr. Owley. He is in our household. In fact, he has a very important job. He's a doorstop. He keeps Sophie's door open for her. But he's very friendly, aren't you, Mr. Owley? So he's come to listen today. So sit back and relax and listen carefully to the next part of the story. "We're off!" someone was shouting. "We're off at last!" James woke up with a jump and looked about him. The creatures were all out of their hammocks and they were moving excitedly around the room. Suddenly, we know what that word is, don't we? Who can tell me what type of word is suddenly? You're right, I can hear you shouting at the screen. It's a fronted adverbial. And it's my favourite fronted adverbial, isn't it, Year Twos? Suddenly the floor gave a great heave, as though an earthquake were taking place. "Here we go!" shouted the old green grasshopper, hopping up and down with excitement. "Hold on tight!" "What's happening?" cried James, leaping out of his hammock. "What's going on?" The ladybird, who was obviously a kind and very gentle creature, came over and stood beside him. "In case you don't know," she said, "we are about to depart for ever from the top of this ghastly hill that we've all been living on for so long. We are about to roll away inside this great, big, beautiful peach to a land to a land of what?" asked James. "Never you mind," said the ladybird, "but nothing could be worse than this desolate hilltop and those two repulsive aunts of yours." "Here, here," they all shouted. "Here, here." Now there was two new vocabulary words there, Year Twos. I wonder if you know what desolate means. Do you think you could find that out for me? And the other word is ghastly. What does ghastly mean? See if you can find that out. It would be great to see your definitions on Teams. "You may not have noticed it," the ladybird went on, "but the whole garden, even before it reaches the steep edge of the hill, happens to be on a steep slope. And therefore, the only thing that has been stopping this peach from rolling away right from the beginning is the thick stem attaching it to the tree. Break the stem and off we go." "Watch it," cried Miss Spider, as the room gave another violent lurch. "Here we go." "Not quite, not quite. At this moment," continued the ladybird, "our centipede, who has a pair of jaws as sharp as razors, is up there on top of the peach, nibbling away at the stem. In fact, he must be nearly through it, as you can tell from the way we're lurching about. Would you like me to take you under my wing so that you won't fall over when we start rolling?" "That's very kind of you," said James, "but I think I'll be all right." Just then the centipede stuck his grinning face through a hole in the ceiling and shouted, "I've done it! We're off!" "We're off!" the others cried. "We're off!" "The journey begins," shouted the centipede. "And who knows where it will end," muttered the earthworm. "If you have anything to do with it, it can only mean trouble." "Oh, nonsense," said the ladybird. "We are now about to visit the most marvellous places and see the most wonderful things. Isn't that so, centipede?" "There is no knowing what we shall see," cried the centipede. "We may see a creature with 49 heads who lives in the desolate snow, and whenever he catches a cold which he dreads, he has 49 noses to blow. We may see the venomous pink-spotted scrunch who can chew up a man with one bite. It likes to eat 5 of them roasted for lunch and 18 for its supper at night. We may see a dragon, and nobody knows that we won't see a unicorn there. We may see a terrible monster with toes growing out of the tufts of his hair. We may see the sweet little biddy bright hen, so playful, so kind and well bred. And such beautiful eggs, you just boil them and then they explode and they blow off your head. A gnu and a gnoceros surely you'll see, and that enormous and gnorrible gnat, whose sting when it stings you goes in at the knee and comes out through the top of your hat. We may even get lost and be frozen by frost. We may die in an earthquake or tremor. Or nastier still, we may even be tossed on the horns of a furious dilemma. But who cares? Let us go from this horrible hill. Let us roll, let us bowl, let us plunge. Let's go rolling and bowling and spinning until we're away from Aunt Spiker and Aunt... That's right, Aunt Sponge. 1 second later, slowly, insidiously, oh, most gently, the great peach started to lean forward and steal into motion. The whole room began to tilt over and all the furniture went sliding across the floor and it crashed against the far wall. So did James and the ladybird and the old green grasshopper and Miss Spider and the earthworm and also the centipede, who had just come slithering quickly down the wall. I wonder where they're off to, Year Twos. This sounds like it's going to be a great adventure. I will see you tomorrow for story time for the next chapter of James and the Giant Peach. It's goodbye from me and from Mr. Owley today. Bye, Year Twos.